Hi everyone, welcome to yoga. Welcome to yin and restorative gentle movement yoga. Please make sure that you have a couple of pillows. If you have yoga blocks, that may be useful too, as well as a blanket, a strap. So if you have no knee issues, I invite you to take a position, a variation of Virasana to start. And that's where you either sit on a prop like a block right in between your ankles like this, toes are pointing back, and the ankles are hugging the block, so your knees are no wider apart than your hips distance. Now, the higher the prop that's in between your ankles, the less intensity or bend your knees have to do, so you can adjust that height. And some of you might find it comfortable to just sit on your heels with no prop, or you might find it comfortable to gently roll the calves aside and sit all the way to the floor. And then again, just make sure that your toes are pointing back. They're not turned out to the sides so that you can align your knees. So find a way to sit for a while that is comfortable for you. And if none of those options work for now, then you can bring your legs in front and just sit any way that you can be upright in your spine. Take a moment to wiggle out the shoulders. Let the arms loosen from whatever you have been carrying physically, moving around with your hands. Perhaps it's a mouse at the computer. Sort of shake that out. Notice if there's any kind of heaviness in the joints of your wrists, your fingers, your elbows, your shoulders. Can you allow this movement to be sort of like you just wash your arms and hands and you're sprinkling the water out, you're just shaking it out. And then let that shaking movement start to move into your rib cage, whether it's circular movements, whether it's contraction and extension, whether it's a wiggle. And then as you're moving your rib cage, can you bring that same intention of sort of releasing any stagnancy along your spine, maybe even your belly and your digestive organs? Is there anything that needs to continue moving? Notice how your skull is affected by the movement of your torso. And start to allow your neck to take motion as well. Is there anything feeling sort of stuck in the neck that needs even just a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a turn, but be very gentle with your neck, of course. Notice the muscles in your face. Perhaps the mouth wants to stretch, the tongue wants to stick out, or the lips flutter. Little figure eights, perhaps with a head. And then once you feel a little more of how you're rooting downward, feel all the parts of your body that are touching the floor or a surface below, like a block you might be sitting on. Can you press downward through that surface area of your body that is touching the surface below, and really feel that connection, that meeting point? Let your toes spread on the mat if you're in Virasana, hero's pose, so that every toenail is pressing into the floor, even the pinky toenails. And then place your hands onto your rib cage as if your rib cage was a huge jar, sort of an oval shaped jar, and you're holding the very bottom of that jar. And as you continue to root downward, press downward into what your pelvis is sitting on, lift your rib cage, lift the jar of your rib cage from the bottom up. And it's okay if the shoulders shrug here for a moment. But as you're lifting your rib cage, can you allow a little more spaciousness throughout your lower and middle spine? Feel as though you could sit on the tips of your sitting bones, left and right. Find a slight lift of your frontal hip bones, so the belly's not lax, but it's slightly drawing inward and even slightly lifting upward towards your sternum. Now continue to lift your rib cage, and then just let the arms go for a moment. Draw your shoulder heads behind you. Take a deep breath in. Smile your collarbones wider apart. Find a slight lift in your chest. As you exhale, draw your 2 shoulder blades down your back. Keep lifting your rib cage. Keep pressing down to your pelvis and legs. And now bring your attention to your skull and how it's sitting on your neck. A little gentle tilting of the skull. Can you feel your chin as though it were a drawer in a chest where you keep your clothes? And can you glide the chin drawer back slightly towards the rear of your neck? And as you do that, can you find a natural space between your chin and chest and begin to lift up through the back of your skull? Imagining there is a string connected at the crown of your head, the very tip top of your head center. And that string is being pulled all the way up towards your ceiling. And that string threads all the way down through your cervical spine, the vertebra along your neck, through your thoracic spine, throughout your rib cage, throughout your lumbar spine, all the way down to your tailbone. And now feel these opposing forces. And this is actually, these are actually energies in the body, ways in which prana or life force moves. And we use this skillfully in asana, in postures. You're rooting downward, connecting to the earth, and you're lifting upward through that imaginary string threading to your spine. Now continue those 2 opposing forces and notice how they work in harmony to create a sense of feeling tone of spaciousness, stability, and volume within. Now can you fill up that volume as you take a deeper breath? You might rest your hands on your lap. You might rest a hand on your chest, a hand on your belly. Exhaling through your mouth, a whisper, a sound, anything that needs to come out. Ha. Again, a deeper breath in, filling up into your belly, like you're pouring water into a jar that is your torso, filling up to your lowest part of your lungs, middle part of your lungs, the very top of your chest. Again, exhaling a sound through your mouth. Ha. And then on your own, try a few more cycles of breath like that, slowing it down. Maybe even play with, when you think you've taken a deep breath, pause and see if you could sip in a little bit more, and then a little bit more, then just a little bit more. Making all kinds of sounds, just letting energy move through the vessel that is your body. Especially if you might have been digesting a lot of stuff today, whether it's information at work or projects you might be working on that could be mentally exhausting, emotionally exhausting, or watching the news or social media. Can you use your breath as sort of an energy shower cleanse? And pay more attention to energy, that which we're made of, and that which we can direct as well. Begin to rub your palms together in front of you. Create some friction. Keep going, keep going. Just building some heat between your palms. Maybe go a little faster, and as you're doing this, can you continue those opposing forces of firming downward through pelvis and legs and lifting upward through that imaginary string that threads throughout your spine and crown. Shoulders are relaxed, heart space is lifted and broad. And then from here, begin to just 2 inches apart, separate the palms away from each other. Can you feel that electricity between them? Inhale, go a little bit wider, almost shoulders distance apart with the palms. Exhale, bring the palms another closer together, maybe about an inch apart. And then inhale as though you have an accordion between your palms, expanding the space between them a little wider than before. And then exhale, bringing the palms to magnetize towards each other without touching. But can you feel the energy between them? Inhale, a little wider than before. Exhale, palms come closer together. Inhale, even wider. This is actually a practice from Qigong that I was taught by a master in a few years ago. And he called it building energy. Can you feel the expansion that's happening between your palms as you increase the space between? Exhaling as the palms come together, not together, but just almost together, maybe an inch apart. So they never touch through this motion, but the arms get a little wider each time you breathe in, or wider apart. And once you finally reach your entire wingspan, bringing the palms close together again, then bring your palms to the very top of your head and bring that energy like a shower again throughout your body. So hovering close to your eyes, towards the third eye center, Ajna chakra, blessing your energy centers, blessing your body. Perhaps thinking of a word, an intention that you want to cultivate, a feeling tone for your practice that you're focusing on. The palms are slowly moving down, blessing your front body towards your heart center, towards your solar plexus, Manipura, sacral, Svadhisthana, root, towards the bottom of your pelvis, down the fronts of your thighs, your knees, and then go up the back body. From the soles of your feet to your glutes, your lower back, your mid back. Carry it up to the shoulder blades, tops of your shoulders. If you're feeling areas in which there's tension or you tend to contract a lot throughout the day, you might spend a moment there, a few breaths, going at your own pace here, towards the ears. So you're just sort of expanding this healing energy that you have cultivated, and then bring your palms to meet at your hearts. Noticing how you feel in this moment. We've been talking a lot about the practice of svadhyaya, self-study, which is the fourth niyama within the second limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. And part of that practice is really fine-tuning our senses, our ability to perceive beyond our conditioning, to step outside of our usual habits, to see new angles of ourself, and connect with a greater sense of self that we are all a part of. That's open space, chanting the vibration of Om 3 times, really feeling how that reverberates within your physical vessel, your instrument, your body, and how you're sending it out with the intention that you are setting now. Let's take a deep inhale. Breathing in through your nose. One more time, exhale to your mouth. And now, if it's feasible for you, invite you to just breathe through your nose so that we can help to warm up the body some more, while softly narrowing the back of your throat. so that you create a very subtle, a gentle whispering sound, this style of breathing called Ujjayi Pranayama. Sustaining your breath equally in and out, releasing your palms, softly flutter your eyes open. And let's crawl down onto hands and knees, all fours. So I invite you to come onto your very, very tips of your fingers. So your hands look like big spiders on your mat. Hollow the center of your palms and really root down so that you feel those opposing forces again, that pressing downward to create a lift upward, a buoyancy at the center of the palms. So with your wrists about a couple inches in front of your shoulders, your knees just under your hips, let's begin cat-cow like this. Inhale, glide your chest through your upper arms, then roll your shoulders back and look up. Let your tailbone lift too. Exhale, tuck your toes, keep your knees on the ground, and then lift your navel, drop your skull so that you dome your back. Relax the toes. Inhale, glide your chest forward again. Roll the shoulders behind you. Broaden your chest, look up. Tuck your toes. Exhale, scoop your belly in. Feel your tailbone tuck underneath as you drop your skull. Really nice and slow. So again, paying attention to the subtle layers, not just the physical movement. But can you feel the progression and the energy of the movements? State of your mind as you're here. And then here. And then here. Moment by moment. Let's take this for at least 3 more cycles of breath. Vidalasana, cat-cow pose. Now, as you exhale next, relax to a neutral spine. Plant your palms flat on the floor. Index fingers both pointing forward so they're parallel to each other. And then keep your hips now directly above your knees. Draw your navel towards your back body. A little engagement of the abdomen. And then begin to walk your hands forward as far as you can reach while your hips stay right above your knees, creating a feeling of a flat back. Now here, can you broaden your shoulder blades wider across your back ribs by rotating the outer sides of your upper arms or your triceps towards the ground? And as you do that, can you make the area of your hands right between your thumbs and index fingers, the base of those fingers, a little heavier on the floor? So there's a counter action. Imagine that string again being pulled from the crown of your head towards the ground ahead of your index fingers, right between them. But at the same time, your shoulder blades are moving back towards your hips. Can you feel those opposing forces lengthening your neck? Take a deep inhale, pour your breath into the pit of your belly, into your side ribs, into your neck, your chest, and softly whisper your breath out to your nose. Several more breaths here in this half downward dog. So as you continue listening to your breathing, bring your mind's eye to the very base of your spine and at your pelvic floor. Can you imagine that you're sort of lifting that area towards your belly button? You'll feel a slight contraction in your lower abdomen as you do that, sort of zipping the energy from your pelvic floor towards your belly button, and then from your belly button towards your sternum as the crown of your head lengthens forward and your shoulder blades move back away from your ears. Last 3 breaths here. Can you feel length from your pinky fingers to your outer armpits, through the sides of your torso, and through your outer hips. Navel drawing in, chest broad. One more deep breath. Slowly walk your hands back towards your outer knees. And you may want to grab a couple of blocks here to have just in front of your knees. Tuck your toes behind you and begin to arrive in a forward fold with your feet apart about as wide as your mat, making sure your feet are parallel. So take a look at your second toes. Bend your knees generously, so much that your belly could be cradled by your inner thighs. Feet parallel, spread your toes, and then tilt your weight forward here. Hands could be on blocks or on the floor, but do have something to place your hands on if they don't reach the floor in front of you. Can you feel your weight shift slightly heavier towards the balls of your feet than your heels? And then keep that action, bend the knees a little more, and then catch hold of opposite elbows. Let your head fall, softly shaking your head no, nodding your head yes as you take deep breaths here. With your hands gently pulling your elbow tips downward towards the earth, but lift your shoulder bones upward towards the sky. Again, those opposing forces. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Long breath out, switch the cross of your arms, and continue to pull your elbow tips gently towards the ground while floating your shoulder bones up towards the sky. Feel the freedom in your neck as you move your skull in any direction, perhaps even swaying slightly side to side, shifting the weight from left foot to right foot, bending one knee a little deeper than the other. And as you crawl your fingertips forward, whether onto the ground or on blocks, inhale, draw your chest through your upper arms and draw your shoulder blades back. Again, those opposing forces to find length to your spine. Keep a bend in your knees, at least a little bent. Set your left hand at center in front of you, like right under your sternum on the floor block. Place your right hand on your sacrum. And can you encourage your two hips to align at the same height as you begin to spiral your chest slowly to face your right wall? As you inhale, pause where you are. Draw the crown of your head further forward. Soften your shoulders further back. Belly hugging the back body. Exhale, continue to rotate your rib cage to the right, keeping your hips squared. You might even like to raise your right arm, opening the front of your right shoulders. Your right palm faces your right wall. Let's take just about 3 more breaths here. Can you feel the area on your upper back right between your shoulder blades? There's a bit of torque there as you're turning your chest. Imagine your next inhale starting from your heart center and radiating through both arms and beyond your fingertips. Then as you exhale, slowly place your right hand down on the block or the floor, front and center. Place your left palm across your sacrum. Feel the balance and height of your two hips as you keep your knees slightly bent or a lot bent. Inhale, draw the crown of your head forward, slide your shoulder blades down your back, belly stays slightly lifted. And then exhale, spiral your chest slowly to face your left wall, just a little bit each breath. Inhale, crown of the head lengthens forward, shoulder blades move down your back. Belly firms in, exhale, continue to spiral your chest to turn left. And perhaps you reach your left arm towards the sky, that's optional. If left arm is up, palm is facing left wall, and you're opening the front of your left shoulder. Imagine your inhalation beginning at your chest center and radiating, expanding through your arms, your entire wingspan, and even beyond your skin. And then as you exhale, you find a little more torque right between your shoulder blades to continue twisting. 2 more breaths. On your next exhale, lower your left hand. Bend your knees a lot more. Tilt your weight forward. Feel the front of your thighs firm. Bring your attention again to your pelvic floor. And imagine lifting it towards your belly button, lifting it away from the ground. And then start to roll up 1 vertebra at a time, breathing in. You might take a few breaths to do that. You could even shake a little as you're coming up, just sort of loosening any tightness along the spine, along the neck, along the shoulders, and then eventually lifting the crown of your head. Once you're all the way up, let's heel toe the feet a little closer together so they're about hips distance, maybe slightly wider, and then again parallel. Take your arms behind you. You might grab your strap, hold it between your hands, or interlace your fingers, hug the heels of your palms together. Then bending your elbows closer together, open the front of your chest or your chest and bend your knees, look up, roll your shoulders back. Take a deep breath and then exhale, bend your knees and fold forward again. Tilt your weight slightly heavier to your toes, drop your skull, let your neck go, let your jaw go. And then continue to stretch your arms away from your lower back as your hands remain clasped or holding the strap. Now begin to straighten your right leg. Bend your left knee as much as you need so that you can lean your torso towards the outside of your right calf. Let your head fall, but lift your shoulders up away from your neck. A couple more breaths here. Arms reaching forward. Now bend both knees, bring your torso to center, switch the interlacing of your thumb or index on top, and then start to bend your right knee generously, straighten your left leg and lean your torso to the outside of your left calf. Deep breaths, let your head fall, float your shoulders up away from your neck, and reach your arms forward and forward away from your back as you're slightly bending the elbows. Deep breath in, slow breath out. 1 more deep breath in, slow breath out. Now as you release your arms 1 more time, bend both knees, drop your chin. Think of that lift of your pelvic floor away from the ground as you start to roll up 1 vertebra at a time, deep breaths. You can even wiggle a bit as you're lifting. Shake off any residue of tension along your spine as you're rising. And when you eventually lift the top of your head, shrug your shoulders. Make a sound as you breathe out through your mouth and rotate your shoulders back, then down a few times. Inhale, forward and up with the shoulders. Sound it out to the mouth, shoulders back and down. Ha! Twice more, breathe in. Last time. A little more movement. We're going to hold still soon. So separate your feet a little wider than hips distance again. And then bring your palms in front of you. Breathe in. And open your arms like a big backstroke. Look up towards the sky. Open your chest. Tailbone lengthens down. And then exhale, hollow your belly, cross 1 arm in front of the other and give yourself a tight hug. Knees bent. Inhale, arms, backstroke again, coiling your chest up. Draw the tailbone down, lift the heart, lower belly draws in. And then exhale, cross the opposite arm on top, give yourself a tight hug. Let's do one more each side. Inhale, lift the heart, roll the shoulders back, backstroke. Exhale, opposite arm hugs tightly. Last time, inhale, backstroke, lift the heart. Exhale, switch arms, give yourself a big hug. And then from here, arms towards the sky, heel toe your feet again, hips distance, parallel. Take your left hand, I'm mirroring you, to hold your right wrist. Plug down to your feet, spread your toes, feel your tailbone like a heavy anchor, seeking the earth between your inner heels. Plug your shoulder bones down into their sockets. Lift through the imaginary string to your crown. Deep breath. Then exhale, side bend to your left for several breaths. Inhale, root down through both feet. Anchor the tailbone towards between the heels. Lengthen your spine through that imaginary string. And then exhale, side bend a little more. About 3 more breaths. Keep going as you feel your front ribs. They're hugging in towards your back body. There's no overarching of the lower back here. Can you breathe into your left side body? Excuse me, your right side body, since I'm mirroring you. The part that's facing the ceiling. Now again, think of lifting your pelvic floor. It's like you're putting on some tight jeans and you're zipping up as you inhale to rise up. Switch hands. Plug down through both feet. Root your tailbone downward. Lift your crown. Shoulder blades down your back. Breathe in. And then exhale, side bend to the right. Pause. Inhale, ground and lift. Exhale, side bend some more. About 3 more breaths. All the while you're hugging your front ribs towards your back body. You're finding a slight lift of your pelvic floor. It's more of an internal action. Breathe into that left side of your torso that's facing the sky. And then imagine again, you're putting on some tight jeans and you're zippering up from the lower belly as you inhale to rise. Exhale, open your arms, bend your knees any amount you need, and fold slowly, Uttanasana. Inhale, press the ground or your blocks. Draw your chest forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold again. Heel toe your feet apart, wider than hips width, and let's come into a squat of your choice, whether you choose to grab your blocks, pillows, or blankets, and make a stool to sit on like this, in which you could separate your feet even wider. If you're hovering your pelvis, you could also, but your Achilles tendons feel tight, you could fold a blanket and just raise your heel portion of your feet onto that blanket, and that can give some support. Or you could sit down on the floor entirely and separate your legs even wider. But whatever you're choosing, just making sure that you're turning out your legs from your hip sockets so that the center of your kneecaps are in line with the center toes beneath them, opening out in the same degree. And then bring your arms onto your inner legs and gently nudge them apart as you root downward to your pelvis and feet. Lift upward again through that imaginary string. Use your breath to fill up your torso from belly to wide chest. Feel your exhalation encourage the softening back and down of your shoulders. Softening of your facial muscles. We're going to add a twist and open up the shoulders here. So take your right arm, cross it in front of your right leg. Raise your left arm and spiral your chest to the left as you lean back, looking slightly up towards the sky. Root downward to the parts of your body closer to the floor, and inhale, lift your heart center, widen your wingspan. Exhale, spiral a little further into the twist if that's available. As we stay for about 7 more breaths, you could also opt to wrap your left arm behind your back. You might catch hold of the top of your right thigh. You might use your two hands and hold a strap between them. Maybe clasp your hands. Each inhale, feel the counter forces of rooting downward and lifting upward, expanding. And with your exhales, rotating your chest, sort of rinsing, giving your digestive organs a massage here. Last 2 full breaths. And as you unwind, let's bring your 2 arms back in between your thighs, perhaps palms in prayer, and pause for about 3 breaths here, just realigning your spine more upright. Releasing your shoulders again slightly back and down, and regrounding to your feet, perhaps your pelvis. And as you're ready, cross your left arm on the inner side of your left leg, keeping it wide open as you raise your right arm. Take a deep in-breath, grounding and lifting, expanding. Exhale, spiral your chest to the right as you look slightly upwards. Inhale, rooting down, lifting and expanding. Exhale, continuing to spiral. Notice how this side of your shoulder feels. Perhaps you keep the arms wide open, or you explore wrapping your right arm behind you. It could meet your sacrum. It could meet the top of your left thigh. Or you could wrap your left arm in front of your left shin too, and either hold a strap between your hands or clasp your hands. Feel into the gradient of your in-breath as it rises to fill space. And feel the degrees of your out-breath as it slowly empties. Last 2 breaths. And slowly unwind. So this chant here, as we come down to sit, you may want to grab a strap, is a chant that I talked about yesterday. It's a prayer for calling forth knowledge and awareness, much of what Svadhyaya is about. All right, let's extend the left leg forward. Take your right thigh and cross it as much as you can over your left thigh. You may want to have a strap around the ball of your left foot. Otherwise, your hands can frame your hips to start on the floor. Flex your left foot and press the big toe mound forward. Spread the toes and flare the pinky toe back towards your outer left knee. As you take a deep breath, again, firm downward towards the earth and lift upward. Find space within your spine, and then exhale, begin to tilt your torso forward. Each inhale, firming downward, create that sense of stability to rise from, to expand from. And with your exhales, drawing your heart forward to lead. Bowing in. Variation of Gomukhasana, cow face pose. So each of these nights in our study of Svadhyaya, I'm going to add this chant in our playlist so that you can become more familiar with it, because on Friday's class, in which we have our guided meditation, we're going to learn and explore this chant a little further. As we stay in this posture a little bit longer, can you redefine the alignment of your spine? Are there parts that are feeling a bit congested right now? Perhaps the shoulders begin to shrug or the chin begins to close off the throat. Can you redefine space throughout your spine? And as you might make any subtle adjustments physically, how does that shift in any amount the way you feel in your body right now? Let's take 2 last breaths here. Now remember that lift of your pelvic floor, that zippering the navel inward and up towards the chest. Use that to slowly rise on an inhale, keeping your spine like a flat back as you're lifting up. And then uncross your legs. Just extend your legs forward and point your toes in Dandasana with hands alongside your hips. Toes pointed, seal in the navel, lift up the frontal hip bones, lift up the jaw of your rib cage, especially the back ribs. Feel those counter forces creating length in the lower back. Use your inhalation to spread your collarbones wide, a very open smile. Feel that imaginary string like a shish kebab down through each vertebra, rising, lengthening. 2 more breaths here. So we can simply sit, or we can sit and pay attention and really feel how we can make such subtle adjustments from within internally that can sometimes make a world of difference. All right, releasing from here, let's take the other leg on top. If you have a strap, you can loop it around the ball of your right foot or place your hands alongside your hips. Flex your right foot and spread your toes. Press the big toe mound forward. Flare the pinky toe back towards your outer right knee. Round your 2 sitting bones. You might be sitting on a prop, if that helps. And then take a deep breath. Bring your inward gaze from the bottom of your spine as you lift your pelvic floor, through your neck, through your crown, shoulders relaxed. And when you're ready, as you breathe out, begin to tilt forward little by little, breath by breath. And though you're bowing, can you find that slight zippering of the navel inward and up towards the chest? And though you're reaching your weight forward, can you counterbalance that by rooting your sitting bones like stakes deep into the earth? Bring your inward gaze from the bottom of your spine and slowly travel your gaze up, just observing. And then where might you invite more space? Where might you loosen any tension? Let's give it 2 last deep breaths. Ardha Gomukhasana. And on your next inhalation, zipper the lower belly in and up, and rise slowly with a feeling of a flat back. This time, step your feet apart on the mat, a little wider than hips distance, and bring your hands just behind your pelvis. And gently drop your thighs to the right, drop your thighs to the left. Breathe in one direction, breathe out the other direction. Taking that several more times. Give your sacrum a little release, give your glutes a little massage, give your inner and outer thighs a stretch, loosening up your hips. Take one more on each side. And then let's take our props to set up for a restorative heart opening posture. Now, you could set up with 2 blocks if you have that. One block, tallest height at the rear edge of your mat. Second block, medium height, crossing your mat closer to you. So the blocks are spaced apart. Pelvis is on the floor, in which you could land the area right under your shoulder blades onto the lower block, and then the back of your skull onto the higher block. Palms turned up, the arms could be open wide or down slightly by your sides. If you'd like something a little more supported, you could use a pillow against those 2 things. Turn it more into a reclining chair. Oh, that's really nice. Then you want to set up your legs in a way that's very comfortable for you, so that you can, if you want to straighten your legs and give your lower back some support, you could put a pillow across your mat so that it's right under the backs of your knees. You could splay your legs apart, just let the feet drop, might shake them out. If you have a weighted blanket, you could drape it over your entire body, or just right your pelvis and belly. That can feel very grounding and soothing and nurturing. Just really use as many props as you might need to feel like you can just let go here. We're not quite in Shavasana yet, but you might choose to stay here into Shavasana. So once you've found a position that your body can be still in, you're going to be here for a few minutes. I'm going to guide you through a little bit of deeper relaxation, part of Nidra, Yoga Nidra, or sleep yoga, in which we'll pay attention to different parts of the body. So closing your eyes, perhaps, if you're comfortable doing so. Bring your attention to the bottom of your feet, to your toes, to your ankles, to your calves, to your shins, and right below your knees, all of that. Can you begin to tense your feet, your calves, your shins, whether you're flexing or you're pointing? Contract your calves. Feel your toes active. Take a deep breath here as you're tensing. Hold your breath in at the top. Keep tensing. And as you exhale to your mouth, relax completely your feet, your calves, your shins. This time, bring your attention to your thighs, to your glutes, to your pelvic floor, to your lower abdomen. As you take the next in breath, engage all of that from glutes to just above your knees. Flex, contract, hold it in. And as you exhale, soften it, let it melt towards the surface beneath. Now bring your attention to your torso, from your lower back, mid back, upper back, to your shoulders, from your chest to your abdomen, your torso, even to your neck. Take a deep inhale and engage as much of it as you can. Contract, 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 contract. Hold your breath in. Exhale, soften your torso. Now bring your attention to your hands, your wrists, your forearms, your biceps and triceps, your armpits. As you take a deep inhalation, can you contract, squeeze the muscles to the bones? Hold your breath, keep tensing. And as you exhale deeply, soften from your armpits to your arms and your fingertips. Let it all go. Now lastly, bring your attention to your head, all the muscles in your face, your jaw, your ears, your neck. As you take a deep breath in, scrunch up your face, tense all the areas of your head, back, sides, front. Hold the breath, keep squeezing. As you exhale, let it all go. Now, we're going to take 2 breaths, very, very slow breaths. We'll visualize the inhale, or I'll invite you to visualize the inhale to begin at the soles of your feet. No tensing this time. You're simply filling up your entire body with 1 breath in. So you might choose a color for your breath to take form, and think of it as like a liquid, like colored water. So when you're ready, from the soles of your feet, visualize taking a deep inhale, slowly filling up to your legs, to your pelvis, to your torso, from your hands to your arms, to your shoulders, to your neck, all the way up to your skull, to the top of your head, your brain, everything filling up. Sipping a little more when you think you're at full. And again through your mouth, empty the breath slowly. And as you empty, can you let your bones become heavier? Can you let the muscles soften around the bones? One last time, just like that. When you're ready, deep inhale from the bottom of your feet, filling up with that color you might be visualizing all the way up throughout your body. When you arrive at the very tip top of your head, see if you could maybe sip in a little more breath without tensing. And as you're ready, slowly let it go and find a little more degree of surrender, the feeling tone of surrendering, the feeling tone of freedom, the feeling tone of trust. And after that one, let go of having to do anything. Just let your breath flow on its own. Just let your body rest against what's supporting it. As we enter a few minutes of Shavasana, feel free to stay if you feel completely at ease. But if you need to remove any props to be even more at ease, feel free to very, very gently move your body into your corpse pose. We'll be in Shavasana just a couple more minutes, but I'd like to share a couple of quotes. This first one is from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It's from Book 2, verse number 44. Study thyself, discover the divine. Again, study thyself, discover the divine. And the second quote, the author is unknown, but you may have heard this before. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. Svadhyaya, second limb of yoga. Now we're about to move on to our 5 minutes of meditation, but if you prefer to stay in the position that you're in, feel free. Otherwise, in your own way, gently begin to move your body, perhaps bending your knees, setting your feet on the ground, slowly making your way up into a comfortable seat. So here we are watching the workings of our minds for 5 minutes. Begin to expand your attention to the boundaries of your physical body, and then surrounding your body, the space around it. Bringing your palms to meet at your heart center. So how do we practice self-study, svadhyaya, in our day-to-day lives? Bringing your yoga practice to where it matters most. Let's close with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace.